They just want you to sit in your chair and go, hip hip hooray, for the Western press and the Western narrative, regurgitating the same old, every single day, without the stop. Please watch the first series, the first 2 episodes, the second series. Look at that.
Absolutely fascinating.
And it was the first time the Beatles had really stopped being semi-professional almost.
Hiya everyone, back again. But anyway, it's I've very briefly. I've got two things. I'm going to do it only briefly, to be honest, and that is it involves Trump and Slot. Believe it or not, Slot and Trump, 2 clowns. One is Slot, when he came out and said, I couldn't believe what he actually said, to be honest. And this is a coach who coaches Liverpool. And as I said, I go back to Shankly. And I've never heard anyone say something so stupid in all my life. No manager, not even Roy Hodgson, not the Northern Irish fella. No one, nobody. And he said, 2 deflected goals cost us 2 clean sheets. Let that sink in. 2 deflected goals cost us clean sheets. Think about that, please. That's what the Liverpool coach said. If it would have been anybody else for any other team, even, a semi-pro team, a non-league team, any team, my school team, and I was a little mad kid saying that. Pathetic. The other one is Trump. And Trump has been given a peace prize by FIFA. A peace prize. This is the same fella who's got warships, aircraft carriers, thousands of Marines ready to invade Venezuela for a regime change. We'll be talking about that later on. He wants to attack, which he has already attacked, Iran. He's already attacked Iran. He's sitting back looking at the likes of Gaza and the West Bank while people are being killed every day. He's just sitting back, and he could stop that. He could have stopped that a long time ago. But he's sitting back. He also was a culprit for giving the green light for attacking Iran and also Qatar. A civilian building, high-rise flat in Qatar, killing civilians, saying that they were going after terrorists. Ordinary civilians just going about their daily lives, killed. And he gave the green light, and they're giving him a peace prize. I think it's sickening, the way this world is. And it's brought football into disrepute, in my opinion. It really has. To be giving him a Peace Prize. And I know that the World Cup is in America next year. And you've got the Eurovision Song Contest. You've got the Eurovision Song Contest. Hang on a sec. Excuse me. You've got the Eurovision Song Contest with Israel in it. And they've been in it for years. And I've always said for years, they're not in Europe. How is it the Eurovision Song Contest? Now I got told. I was talking to my daughter before, and she said Australia and somewhere else are coming. I think New Zealand. So it's not European, is it? It's not a Eurovision. It's global vision now. It's been destroyed. And she said, have you ever watched it? I said, I stopped watching it after Puppets on a String. Puppets on a String. That's the last time I watched it. Sandy Shaw. Can't blame me. Anyway, CW. Even in Frankenchat, I'd say, it's the cop father. The cop father. What a name. Big up, Frank, just showing some support. Thank you, cop father. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate it. There's our old mate, Johan. Hiya, Johan. Good evening, Frank and legends. Isn't that lovely? Isn't that lovely? Cheers, Johan. The lovely Bella. Buonasera, Franco and chat. Hope you're all well. We're just wondering if anyone's been in touch with Toscana, you know, how she got on at the hospital today. I hope she's okay. Our friend, Toscana. And Johan says, what a clown world we live in. FIFA, the embodiment of integrity, giving Trump his Peace Prize. I just can't get over it, I'm being honest, Joe. I can't get over it. That to me is bringing football, sport, football that we love, no matter who you support, no matter who you support. You know, international teams as well. Just into disrepute. This is just my opinion. I think it's disgraceful. I really do. What Peace Prize? Has anyone thought this out? Again, it's the West, though, isn't it? It's the West. And the Western narrative. No one is saying anything. I'm just done in. I really am done in with it. But you're right there, Johan. The embodiment of integrity giving Trump his Peace Prize. I don't know. Even the Champions League, you've got the likes of Israel in it. You've got the likes of Israel in the Champions League. They're not in Europe. See, the likes of Israel, you might think that it's just a little country that's got no power. A little country that's got no power. And everyone feels sorry for them. But they have tremendous power. There's the regime change which they want in Venezuela. And yet, it's a Mossad stooge, Ricardo. She was trained and groomed by Mossad, believe it or not, and the CIA, obviously. So this is what you've got to look at too. Mossad has got a lot to say in everything, and I mean everything. I've seen a picture, just a picture, photograph of that Pete Hesketh. Has anybody seen his tattoos? I forgot all about them actually because I seen a picture of him when he first came into power with Trump this year, in January, and someone put a picture up. This is one of Trump's heavy men, heavy men. Heavy, they called them. And I was shocked. And then I just looked before, and you see him there, with his tattoos. Have a look at his tattoos. This fella who ordered the killing of 2 defenseless people. Get rid of them, he said. In the water, clinging onto, debris. It's shocking. Should be up for a war crime. And Johan says Pete has an insignia on his body. He's got kratom down his body. 3 big. I don't care what anyone says. The Iron Cross. If you've ever seen an Iron Cross, and they're massive, not little things, big. He's a greasy oaf. He's a greasy oaf, him. Greased up hair. Greasy oaf. And Bella says, I never knew they had just given it before. Bella, you've given it before. Shocking. Even in Franken chat, says Lynn, hiya Lynn. I was going to ring you today, Lynn, to see what you were talking about that girl having a go at me. I don't know where that came from. I don't think any ladies, only me exes, having a go at me. Lovely Helen Ambidextrous. Good evening, Helen. Good to see you. And Bella says, yeah, SS tattoo. Yep. You can't make this up. You cannot make this up. And, he's the Secretary of Defense. And this is what kind of a dick fella he is. So he says, I'm not Secretary of Defense anymore. I'm Secretary of War. See what his mindset is. Secretary of War. A greasy oaf like him who hasn't a clue. Believe me, he hasn't a clue about. He's a former newsreader, and Slop brought him in. It's shocking. It's shocking. They show you what they show you what and who they are, says Ambi, little Helen. Yes, of course, of course, of course. That's who's running the world. Well, they're not running the world as such. They thought they were. They thought they were, and this is like Israel and America, but they don't run. They just don't run. The likes of China, Russia, India, because there's Putin's just been to India, and they've been doing trade deals. And only a few weeks ago, Trump made a fool of himself by saying, I've told India not to buy any Russian oil. Modi turned around and said, sod off. Sod off. Because now what you've got BRICS, what you call BRICS, these different countries who's challenging the might of the dollar, the American dollar. And once de-dollarization comes into the force, there'll be no more sanctions. They won't be able to give anybody sanctions. They won't be able to bully. They won't be able to do anything. Franco, how can they get away with that of an SS tattoos on the body? They do. This is why, you've got this Zelensky, General Zelensky, who, he was having problems with Zelensky a couple of years ago. And a useless general anyway in the army. Anyway, Britain said to Zelensky, listen, if you're going to sack him, we'll have him as an ambassador. See, because the UK is heavily involved in Ukraine, heavily. And all the intel, you might think that it's coming from America. It says, obviously, with their satellites. But it's the MI6 who's giving the intel to the CIA, who's passing it on to the satellite people. Coordinations are everywhere around Ukraine, where the Russians are and whatever. We're so involved, it's sickening. And Zelensky, as I meant to mention, is a Azov general. If you don't know what Azovs are, they're Nazis. They're Nazis. They're what you call Banderites, who did atrocious things during the Second World War to ordinary Ukrainians, to Russians, to the disabled, to Romanies, to everybody, to be honest. Jews, obviously, 400,000 Jews. They slaughtered, executed. Besides the Russians, besides the disabled, besides the Romanies, besides dissidents, you had dissidents. And they were the ordinary Ukrainians. And he's a general of them. And if you think Zelensky's bad, this fella's worse. So Britain won him as the new leader because Zelensky's days are numbered. He's going. He's corrupt, as you know. He's always been corrupt. He's skimmed not millions, billions. He bought a bank. Think about that. He bought a bank in France. Just think about that for a minute. How could he afford a bank? And Trump wants to pardon them all. He wants to pardon them. He doesn't want it to go any further, all the corruption, all these billions that have gone missing. It's shocking. It's between, as one fella put it, it's between 60 and 140 billion that's gone missing in both currencies of the euro, the dollar, and even the pound note. And we're still giving money to them, to a corrupt regime. Why are they giving them it? Because they want the war to carry on. They just want, they're making money as well, you know. That von der Leyen, look at there. Remember her hidden, when she deleted her texts over Pfizer? Corrupt. Kaya Kallas, Estonia. Where's the money being laundered? What's laundered there in Ukraine? Have a guess where it's being counted out? Estonia. Now she's being looked at as well. Von der Leyen's being looked at with the corruption. And what affiliations did Kaya Kallas have? The Russophobe, who eats, sleeps and drinks Russia. With Estonia. She was the minister, wasn't she? She was the prime minister there. Useless. A useless woman who just reads scripts. They're given a script in front of them. And they're always at podiums, have you noticed? And they're reading from a script. Obviously, they would get told what questions are going to be asked. The scripts are already there. Highlighted, the answers. Get her on her own. She'd never have a clue. Same as von der Leyen. He wouldn't have a clue. So corrupt. And Johan says, have you seen Crazy Eyes Kash Patel refusing to leave his plane without an FBI jacket? They found one that fit him and it belongs to a female officer. Oh, go away. I didn't know that. You couldn't make that up. I didn't know that. I know he was wearing, I seen a picture of him. Couldn't be bothered listening about him, to be honest. I just seen it, where he's on the plane. I think I seen a picture or footage where he is wearing, and is that it? He asked for a, why? And he after him. Who's after him? Kash Patel. What a fucking phony he is as well. And Bella says, wasn't he a comedian or something like that before? He became president of his country. How can he have all this money and buying all these things and no one is questioning how he... Because you read the... I know all about it. Johan knows all about it, and a few others. Because we watch channels that tell the truth. Bella. He was a comedian, he was an actor. This is why he was chosen. Because he can read scripts. He can read scripts. And he's a big puppet. And one of his comedic acts was that he played the piano with his penis. Live on television. For a laugh. That's what kind of an idiot this fella is. But I tell you what, I've seen him age since he became president. I've seen him age. I've seen him age. And as I said, he just reads scripts. He's got the Azovs behind him. If he gives in to any agreement for peace, the Azovs will kill him. The only place like Yermak, for example, Yermak's a Jew as well, by the way. Do you know that? They're all Jews. And where's Yermak going? Israel. A few of them who got caught with that 100 million, they're in Israel now. And do you think Zelensky's corrupt? Yes. Barry Aldrich. Corrupt World Cup Group AB, Netanyahu, DJ Trump, and the Lion. I like that. I like that. I didn't realise, I'm being honest, I knew that the likes of Israel was, he has a powerful body around the world. I knew that. I've known that for years, but I didn't know how powerful they were. How powerful. Especially with all these, the likes of AIPAC, for example. Didn't realise how powerful that was. The Jewish lobby in Congress, the Senate, even here in this country. Paulie, I Frank and chat, I chat. Everyone, good hopefully, yes. We're all good, we're all pondering about what Slot said came on before. And he said, if there wasn't any 2 deflected goals, we would have had 2 clean sheets. I think that now it should be gone, to be honest. I think it should be gone well after that. And Trump being given a peace prize. And he can't wait to invade Venezuela. Whether it's a bluff, I don't know, to be honest. Because Maduro, he's not going to just walk away. The Americans bully everyone. They bully everyone. But they can't bully the likes of the superpowers. They tried to bully China, didn't he? And he came out a few weeks ago and said, India is not buying oil from Russia. He said that a couple of weeks ago. Because if they did, we're going to put tariffs on. And Modi turned around to him and went, you what? Don't buy energy, oil, off Russia. You having a laugh? See, he's being found out. The Americans are being found out with the bullying tactics. This is what's happening. This is what's happening. They're being found out. And the likes of, the alternative news people, I've been listening to them. And I've been listening to Colonel McGregor, Colonel Wilkinson, Larry Johnson, former CIA analyst, Ray McGovern, former CIA analyst. These are all people who are heavily involved in the truth. and they know what's going on. They really do. It's like, this studio here, the X-Files. It's like everything. But this is not a conspiracy theory with the likes of the American deep state and the American government. It's not a conspiracy theory. We see it with our own eyes. I was listening to, I couldn't get over this. Last night I was listening to Hillary Clinton, and she was in an interview, with an audience, and the audience were the Jewish brethren. And she was blaming, she was saying that the young who go on these demonstrations against Israel and against, stop the genocide. Have a guess who she blamed? And she said that there's no genocide, obviously. And they said it's TikTok. They're getting shown footage which is untrue. She's blaming TikTok. This is a Queen of Russiagate. This is the Queen of Russiagate. When she says, going back when she was fighting Trump for the presidency, that Russia was involved in the election, the American election for president. Hence Russiagate. And she was found out that she was a fucking big liar. Just like they're all fucking liars. And Barry says, just to make you laugh, Frank, amongst the horrible people who think they are all powerful. Yeah. They're all comedians. They all think that we're stupid. They all think that we are stupid. They all think that, like, when we say 1 and 2 is 3, we don't say 3. We say 4. That's how they look at us, stupid. And we're not stupid. Ever since Hillsborough, I've always been skeptical of the press. Always. The Western press. And I stopped reading it. I just stopped reading the Western press. And then I only watched Channel 4 News. I wouldn't watch any other news. Because I always thought Channel 4 News was, fair. Gives you the truth. Until I seen with the SMO, when that started. And I went to Kiev. And I was only there a few days, the SMO moved in. And Matt Fry, who I had great respect for, was in Kiev. And he was interviewing this person, some fella. And the fella was going, oh yeah, them dirty Russians, I don't know. And then he turned to a former Duma MP, Russian MP, and it was a woman. And she started to give the reason why they invaded. Because all that was coming out of the Western press was an invasion, an illegal invasion for no cause whatsoever. They just want to take Ukraine. They just want to take over Europe. They've gone back to the old ways. This is what was coming out of the Western press. And this lady, this woman, former MP, was given why they went in. And she mentioned the bombing and shelling and killing of civilians, men, women and children in the Donbass area for 8 years, and he stopped it. He said, "That's enough, but it's enough of you." Matt Fry. Matt Fry did it. And you see another, after the SMOs, and they're funny. It was so funny because I was doing this thing, and it came on, and again, it was Channel 4. And you see the Russian soldiers going in, and they had groceries in their hands, giving them to people. And you see this woman, an old lady, and she's shouting. And what was coming out of the Western press was she was telling them to fuck off. Honestly, that's what they gave her. F off, they were saying. She's saying, F off, we don't fucking want you here, Jarrod, and all this. And what she was really shouting was, oh, help us, oh, help us. Thank God you're here. See what I mean? See how they fucking spend things. And that was it then. Just cut it off altogether. Channel 5 News. I haven't listened to I haven't listened to ITV or BBC for years. And that was the only channel I listened to. And I stopped it then. I just said, fuck that. I haven't listened to any of it. And Johan Killary, exactly, she's known as Killary, isn't she? Doesn't seem to know that Larry Ellison, the largest donor to the IDF, now owns TikTok. Yeah, he bought it, didn't he? Well, that proves everything, Johan. You buy the social media, if you can put anything on. This is why I was made up with Elon Musk, because when he took over, he said, look, you won't be, whatever you say, it stays. So I was made up with that, because you were restricted on what you said. YouTube's the same. YouTube's the same. Unfortunately, you're restricted. And yeah, Larry Ellison has bought TikTok. Now, he hasn't bought it for his own, he's bought it for a reason, hasn't he? Because did you ever see those young American influencers? Did you ever see that? Young girls, lovely young girls, and, good-looking young fellas, and saying everything, how good Israel is, and, take no notice about genocide and whatever. And each of them was exposed. They got $7,000 every time they went on. $7,000 was there for them. For the spiel that they were giving out. That's how corrupt it is. Bella says, we are not naive. However, our governments restrict us and attempt to silence us by limiting free speech. Well, you go to jail now. You go to jail. If you know what I mean. So free speech, there's no such thing as free speech anymore, Bella, unfortunately. And Barry says, you know who are the truth makers, Frank? Not the usual suspects that fill our minds with absolute lies. Yes, that's the Western narrative. And people go along with it. They just go along with it. they read whatever they say or see whatever's on the BBC or ITV, and they go, "Oh, that awful." Oh. But even when you're seeing it with your own eyes, let's say the likes of the West Bank and Gaza, you know, um, people are dying. People are dying. And they're saying, well, you know, a mass is there. So as little babies, you know, I don't know if a little 2-year-old can pick up, you know, one of those big guns and knows how to fire it, you know, and how to aim it and shoot. Little 2-year-old girls, little 2-year-old boys, and then are blown up by a tank. You've only got to look at Hind, that girl, 355 bullets in her little body, 6 years of age. And they know who they are. One is an American named Sean Grace, and he's back in the States. Why don't they get him? Why don't they yank him out and bring him to The Hague for murder, for a war crime? Because if they do that, they'd have to get that Hesketh up for giving the order for those two lads clinging to a piece of debris in the water. Get rid of them, he said. Doesn't want any witnesses, you see. Why don't they use the Coast Guard? That's what they're there for, the USA Coast Guard, US Coast Guard. Why don't they use them if the drug peddlers? Have you noticed there's not one boat being pulled in about it? Not one. And you've got to take their word. Well, we know Trump's a liar anyway. We know that Hesketh's a liar. We know they're all a liar. All lies coming from them. There was only Tulsi Gabbard, and now I don't know what's happened to her. Tulsi Gabbard was a good woman. She even came out in October and she said, you know, the president went in on a campaign of truth and peace. I've seen none of it. I haven't heard anything ever since. Johan, they also banned the watermelon emoji and classed it as a hate speech after he bought it. Oh, go away. I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Johan. That's new to me, that. They also banned the watermelon emoji and classed it as a hate speech after he bought it. Go away. Fucking hell. Paulie, I've never watched a Yik 2 video, and hopefully I never will. Almost everyone I know can't put their phones down. I find it ridiculous. Yep. Yeah. It's disgraceful what's happening to the Palestinians, Paulie. I used to have this particular channel on, not this, you know, not what I'm doing here. And I used to pay a subscription. I had to stop paying the subscription. The footage I was getting, it knocked me sick, and it was depressing me. It was getting at my mental health. I couldn't believe it. What I was looking at. Some of it goes on YouTube, you know, some of it, but not not what you see, not the footage. You actually see footage. like on YouTube there, you can get it now. You see two fellas being, there's like an excavator or something that's pulling down this like iron door, like a garage door, that goes up and it's pulling it down or pulling it up. And you see two fellas coming out, the IDF soldiers are there. And then they crawl out and they get a kicking. And then they were told to go back into this like old thing, that they came out of. And they shot them. Shot them. And, well, you find that on YouTube anyway. But I've seen a lot worse than that. I've seen a lot worse. Do you ever remember a few years ago when you see, I think there was 5 young lads playing on the beach. And there was an Israeli gunboat out at sea. And these young lads were playing football. And they were blown up. Does anybody ever remember that? Playing football. And the audio of those two IDF snipers laughing when they shot a nurse, a 20 or 21 years of age nurse, when she went to help a young Palestinian who was shot in the leg. And they shot her in the head. Killed her, obviously. High-powered sniper gun, bang, gone. And they were laughing about it. And then the Israelis said, we'll do an investigation. Has anyone ever heard what happened to the investigation? No, because you don't hear about anything. They're still there. There's been more journalists killed by the IDF, by the way, than everything combines in the 2 world wars, World War I and World War II, combined just in the West Bank and Gaza. Think about that. Why are they being targeted? Because they're coming out. They're coming out and saying the truth. And you're getting people now there's a fella named Douglas Murray. I don't know whether you've heard of him. Very far back he speaks. Oh, you want to hear him? Okay, now. Denying everything. Denying everything. And he's got press on him there. And he said, I'm in the Gaza or the West Bank, I forget where he was. And he fucking wasn't. He was somewhere in Israel, if you know what I mean, with a little background. He wasn't fucking there. And this is what it's all about. Lies and spins and whatever. And Johan says, things like that you never forget. Young kids. I'm glad you remember it. These were kids. They weren't like teenagers. They were kids. They were running. You see them running away. They're not fucking killed. Of footage I've seen though, I had to stop it. I had to stop it because, as I said, it was getting me mental health. I was worrying. I was thinking about it, and you think I hope it's a dream, but it's not a dream. It's reality. You've seen it with your eyes. And Paulie. Sorry, guys. I've just had to shoot upstairs. I'm off to pick the takeaway up. It's oh, brilliant. I'll give it our regards. So it's takeaway and wine tonight. Hope everyone has a nice weekend. I've enjoyed listening. Thanks, Paulie. Go and enjoy your meal. Enjoy your meal. My regards to your wife and your. I hope it's a decent wine, by the way, not one of these cheap things that some people like to get. I'm only joking. Enjoy your meal. Cheers, mate. And Johan says, isn't Douglas Murray that you've never been fellow from Joe Rogan's pod? Yes. Yes. He was destroyed by Dave Schmidt that night. I seen him getting destroyed by as well. I was looking at it last week. Oh, what's his name? The English fella? Khan. Oh, what's his name? He's good as well. I always forget his name though. And he was destroyed. Horrible he is. Douglas Murray. Just lie after lie after lie. That's him. Johan. Dave Schmidt buried him. And Joe Rogan did as well, didn't he? Singapore fried rice for me, Paulie, says Barry. I got a meal out of, well, I got a few meals out of Marks and Spencer's. And they had one today, this beef thing. Fucking hell, it was lovely. It was an Italian dish, but never tasted anything like it. I'm going to get another one tomorrow. I fancy he's coming down for me rafts, well. So you might see me tomorrow, dressed up, not dressed up like, most probably like with this on. I'll throw my coat on my way, throw my hat on to keep me little heads warm. But I've got a special fried rice out of there, and I can't wait to have that. It's all in the freezer. You've got to defrost them before you can cook them, And the evening, John Franco, hope you're well. Yes, everyone's moaning on here. To be honest, IBR, you're not going to moan at me, are you? Hey. So you see the way things are going. And I'm going to tell you now, with the likes of these, these tankers being shot at, droned at, you've got now Odessa. Now, Putin didn't want to go there. He just didn't want to go there. He just wanted Lugansk, Kherson, Donetsk, Donbass, Crimea. These oblasts, Lugansk. He just wanted them, and they're all in the Russian Federation now. So if you attack them, you're attacking Russia. And now he'll have to take Odessa now. He's already targeted the infrastructure there, and people will be cold this winter. I'm cold here, sitting here. You can imagine them there because their winters are severe. So he's going to landlock now the whole of Ukraine, and it'll be useless to anybody because there'll be no access to the Black Sea. That's the end of that. Especially NATO. NATO won't be able to go there because it'll all be Russia. And Russia will just fucking sink anything there. But you've got Starmer wanting to send out, forget that. Our Navy. We haven't got a fucking Navy. We had that unbelievable, we ruled the, and we did rule the waves. We did rule the wave. We rule nothing now. We rule nothing. I've always said about education. This country, we started off the Industrial Revolution and we were brilliant. We were brilliant. Unfortunately, we didn't educate kids. We didn't educate them. So by the time years went on, the leading in the industrial complex, we started to lag behind simply because the continent were educating their people. And this is why I've always said to, when I've done the history of literature, to read Elizabeth Barrett Browning's poem, Aurora Leigh. A young Italian girl with an English father, born and bred in Italy, educated until she was 11. Parents died. She had to go back to England to her dad's sister, her auntie, because there was no one there for her. So she went over to England, 11 years of age, and she knew more than the teacher. She knew more than the teacher. And the teacher was there to teach kids. But the education system was dreadful in this country. That's why there was charity schools. That's why there was charity schools. And, you had these charity schools. No one gave a toss. You had the Forster Act of 1870. And he said, this is for children, go to school. The kids didn't want to go to school. The parents didn't want the kids to go to school either because they were working. They were working in mills and wherever. And then you had the Mandela Act of 1880, where it made them compulsory. Children had to go to school. Did they go to school? No. So this is how we lag behind. You've got the likes of China today and India. I remember being at university studying, and there was a couple of Indian girls, and I always forget, I never forget this fella's name, Graham Channeler. And anyway, Graham he said, would you like to read my dissertation? I said, look, and he was doing physics. And I said, I'll tell you what, will you read mine? And he went, yes. Now I did a paper on Shakespeare and Dickens, the social and economic issues. Only 10-year like things, And he said, yes. I'll do it. So anyway, I read this, brought it home, I'll fucking read it. I never even finished the first paragraph. He read mine. The whole lot. He said, what did you think? I said, fantastic. I said, "That fantastic, big star for you." I said, "Well, what did you think about it?" He said, "Very good." He said, "I'm so happy that you." He did say happy. He said, "I'm so happy that you read mine. Thank you." I said, "No problem." Okay, now, but he had these two mates, and I had a cup of tea with them one day. Two Indian girls. Fucking hell, they were brilliant. And apparently, one is what's she now? I think she works for, believe it or not, NASA. Not NATO, NASA. One of them. But they were brilliant. And I've always said about the Chinese as well. The Chinese are brilliant, and look at their economy now. They're the leading economy in the world, and they're what they come out with, from phones to laptops to anything. I'm sorry about this. Got this itch back. Incredible, absolutely incredible. The Chinese. And people think about, India, they say, "Oh, it's all poverty." There is poverty. There's fucking poverty here. There's poverty everywhere. But the Indians, very, very bright people. Very bright. And they think that we're all, people think that everyone else is stupid. No. Barry Eldrin, do you think a Berlin-style wall would be built between Ukraine and no? No fucking way. Russia won't allow that. Russia will not allow that. I know that was mentioned, wasn't it? And the EU all made up. The EU is in dire trouble. NATO, people think that, NATO, this great force, they've got all the Ukrainian uniforms on. That's who they've been fighting. They've been defeated. NATO. And what powers do they have now? None. Should be disbanded. Should have been disbanded after the Berlin Wall came down in '89. That's when it should have been disbanded, because they were only there, for the Soviets. For the Soviets. No more Soviets now. It's just plain Russian Federation. And the Americans gave their word. They said, we won't go any further. They said to Gorbachev, we won't go any further, because he said, if this wall comes down and we give autonomy, to the countries, because they had this massive thing, so no one would invade again. After the Second World War, they said, well, fuck that, no one's going to come through again. That's why they were occupied. But in 1989, everyone just went there. You can have it now. And the likes of East and West Germany became all one Germany again. And they were promised that NATO wouldn't expand eastwards, not 1 inch, they said, to Gorbachev. So Gorbachev said, okay. Took their word. You've only got to look where NATO is today. Just Google a map. Where's NATO? On a world map. They're fucking everywhere. And they surrounds Russia. But as Putin said, I don't know whether it was yesterday or the day before, if Europe won a war with us, we're ready. Because if you think that, they're an all-out war against Ukraine, they're not. They've never taken the gloves off. They've got super weapons that the West could only dream of. They've got this Orishnik, an incredible weapon. They've got the, I don't know what it's called. It begins with a B anyway. Johan will know. They've got this, and they've got Iskanders. They've got missiles that are supersonic. They can't be shot down because they just go invisible. They're that fast. They're incredible. They've got incredible weapons. They said, if you want a war with us, yeah, we're ready. That'll be the end of it then. Freedom Journey. Good evening, Frank and chat. Are you? Good to see you. Really? I think people are thinking I was talking football. No, it's totally different tonight. China has cars that can float on water when the streets flood. Johan, I thought it was like a film, like a fantasy, and it wasn't. It was fucking real. And what it was, you see this car, electrified car, and you see this fella get in, having a look, and he pulls into the street, there's other cars parked, and he pulls there, and then moves off again, and then comes in a traffic jam. Then all of a sudden, these things come out at the side like wings, and it just lifts up and just fucking in the air. Honestly, I thought that it was a film, a fantasy film. I thought it was, the way they advertise films, and it wasn't. It was real. It was absolutely amazing. Then it went on to the airports. The airports, they're fantastic. They're huge. They're huge. But also what you've got within the airport is a train station. That just takes you to your destination when you get off your plane. It's incredible. The buildings are unbelievable at night. At night, you want to see them. They're fantastic. Unbelievable. China. And it's not just Beijing or Shanghai. It's all over the place. It's everywhere. The high tech is unbelievable. Putin proposed to join NATO when he first, he did, into power to truly end the Cold War. And Bill Clinton said he can't do that. Yeah, he did. He said no. Because it's look, it's these people like Raytheon who say no. Because these military complexes, they just make lots of money by building these weapons, by having lovely wars. This is what it's all about. This is why in America they shouldn't have a Congress or a Senate. They shouldn't, because they're the corrupt ones. They're taking money off these complexes, these military complexes. They're taking the money, and then it goes to the president. But you've got the deep state then, and the deep state tell the president what to do. I always remember a couple of years ago, a few years ago, there was this fella on, an American, and he was talking about the pyramid. He was talking about the pyramid, and he said, at the top of the pyramid, he said, you've got these people. He says, and as it goes down, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So you've got the people at the top, and it goes down to the 7th, which is there, and that's the President of the United States. And everything is filtered down from the top, goes right through down to the President, what he has to say, what he can and cannot do. See, Trump is a fool. He was told to go in with the, he couldn't afford Kamala Harris because she is such an idiot, that lady. Sorry to say that, but she is politically wise. She's like that Kaya Kallas. Pathetic. And von der Leyen. So he couldn't afford to have her in when she decided to run for president. So he just said to Trump, you're going to campaign on peace. That'll be your main goal, and make America great again. We'll just concentrate on America. No more wars, no nothing. Make peace with everyone, because we're at war with Ukraine, a proxy war. But if you tell the American people that I'm MAGA, you'll get in. And he did. He won easily. And as I mentioned about people, coming out and saying that he got in on a peace campaign. Tulsi Gabbard, she came out and said it. And she was one of these people who was in IUP. And you don't hear of it anymore, because that's what she came out with in October. She said he got in on the campaign of peace, and he'd stop wars and make America great again. But he didn't. He's gone the opposite way. And that was it. That was the end of Tulsi, unfortunately. I like Tulsi Gabbard. I liked her because I always followed her. And I was made up she got the job. But you don't hear of her now because she spoke the truth. Because they don't like it, you see. The deep state don't like the truth coming out. They just don't like it. This is what you had Zelensky, didn't you? He's been telling lies for the last few weeks about, this a place called Provosk. And he said, our lads are, counter-attacking and they're pushing the Russians back. We're doing great. Give us more weapons. We won't need more money. And it was all lies. It was all propaganda. The unfortunate thing is, for him, he was found out. And when Putin said, well, if he's doing this, come here. And he invited every Western reporter. And have a guess what all the Western media said? The bosses, no, don't go. Because they knew that they didn't want the truth, that they'd have to tell the truth on the television and in the press. So they were banned from going by their own papers after being invited by Putin. So I think ordinary people, started to question. I'm not saying they've woken up yet, but they're starting to question. And especially when I think, well, I don't think, I know, when that 100 million was found, I think the Americans put it there because they knew Zelensky was on his last legs. They knew he was on his last legs. That wasn't accidentally, someone just didn't go and say, oh, yeah, look at that, it's $100 million, all dollars. The Americans put it there and said, we've got them. It's corrupt. But that's just Zelensky's team. That's why he blamed Yermak as well. That's why Yermak had murder with him. But he's still on his last legs. But you've got to watch this Zelensky fella. Russia will take no notice of him. They fucking know what he is. Because what they want to denazify a lot. The whole of Ukraine. That's their goal. Denazify them. But they're not going to go and take all Ukraine. If they wanted to go and take all Ukraine, you know what they would have done? They would have just sent their bombers in and flattened it immediately. Because that Medvedev, he said, I just flattened it. And he's a moderate. He's a moderate. Putin's a moderate. Broveshnik. Yeah, incredible. An incredible weapon. Thanks, Johan. It's an incredible weapon that these have got. Do you know what I've got? Nearly got 2K subscribers, Been up in the last couple of weeks. Must be doing something like. And Frank, do you think that the assassination attempt on him? Yeah. I don't think a bullet. I think it was already there. Like an earring. Genuine this. And I said, I don't know whether I said it at the time, but I told someone. I said, there's no way that he could just turn and a bullet would go there. No way. Because no one knows where the bullet went. And I think that lad was set up. He was on the roof and they just shot him, didn't they? They could have had him easily. Like you do capture criminals, even assassins. He was already on the roof. They could have easily have said, listen, put your guns down or we're going to blow your head off. I think it was just a plant by the CIA. I think he's had an airing there. And on a cue, you see him turn around, only and he's talking, then turns like that. And then all of a sudden, and then, did you notice, they were a bit late, but they jumped up and then rushed them away. And he's shouting, fight, fight, fight. They would never have allowed him to fucking shout that. No way would he have started, fight, 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 fight. No way. They was still has him down. Because the sniper, he hasn't only got one bullet, he's got a couple of bullets. Could have easily have had them. So, yes, I do believe it was staged. It was staged. But it's a good little point that you made. Outside of that, I'll remind them of who really runs the show. No, staged. Definitely staged. And as I said, it's an airing, like an airing. that's there. And did you notice afterwards, have you noticed this? Nothing about, I always remember reading about David Niven, his autobiography, when he was nearly killed at Normandy. And he said he suffered from tendinitis because a bullet just missed him and it snapped as it flew past his ear. And he suffered from tendinitis. Think about it. He never suffered from that, did he, Trumpo? Nothing at all came out and said, oh, he's suffering from tendinitis. He never even said it. You do. If that bullet, a supersonic bullet going past your ear. Think about it. Good shout that, Johan. Thank you. Love it. The IBR says that one's a liar, woman. I love it. That. That one's a liar, woman makes my skin crawl. She wants to send troops into Ukraine. And when asked if her children would be sent to fight, she smirked and laughed and said, they aren't in the military. Yep. 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 That's what they're like. Well, if I was being another reporter stands next to that, I would have just said, well, why don't they join the military then? If you want them to fight. Because other people would have to join the military. So get them to. Have you noticed that? Has any of you, I'm telling you now, has any of you ever seen her in a dress? Have you ever seen her in a dress or a skirt? She's always got black kicks on. Black trousers. The Charlie Kirk assassination was a Mossad, in caps, job, as the bullet came from behind and was a far smaller projectile than what was fired from a rifle. That's what they're saying, isn't it? Because he went against them. I always thought that he was all for Israel. I didn't give a fuck about him. Because I listened to him a couple of years ago and I was going, come on. Know what I mean? And he was getting paid by Israel. And the plan was by Mossad, by Israel. He was being planned. It was all planned. And I forget his name. Was it a fellow named Crawford or someone? Said, this fella's good to Israel. And he never finished off his degree, university. He never went to university, in other words. He said he's a good speaker. So they groomed him and trained him to get the young people of America to give them a political philosophy, his philosophy, and he has a huge following. And this is what Israel wanted. And then he realized that he was being used, finally. But they gave him millions. And they wanted to say, I'll tell you what it's like. I'm going to tell you what it's like. Very similar. You might agree and you mightn't agree. They did do him in because they spent millions on him and they don't like that. And if you turn against them, you're gone. It's like now, Zelensky. They've spent billions on him. And he's not going to live his life out. I'm telling you now. Um, and when you see, there's lots of things you see. There's lots of things with the likes of that assassination. And I'll give you one example again. You might agree, you mightn't agree. And it was that Alexei Navalny. Now, Navalny was again a puppet by the CIA. Hardly anyone knew him in Russia. Hardly anyone. Know what I mean? And when he had his funeral, I think a service or something, he was like, you see crowds of people. Wow, look at all them. He was known. Look, he wasn't known, believe me. And I think they did him in as well. Because I was listening to Lavrov, and they were wanting, when he was in Germany, and it's supposed to be Novichok that killed him. Now, they don't use Novichok. They've destroyed Novichok, Russia. And do you ever remember the Skripals? And Lavrov was saying, listen, can we come over and investigate? Because we don't use it. We do not use Novichok. We destroyed it. And we refused. We refused for any Russian investigators to come over and investigate this Novichok Skripal thing. These former Russian people. And it was a load of bollocks. Because down Portdown, just down from Shrewsbury, it was leaked that they make Novichok. They make Novichok, the poison that kills you. You've only got to go like your dead. It said that it was on his doorknob and never him and his daughter. They would have been fucking dead. This is why Lavrov said, can we go over and investigate this? And it was the lead up to what's happening today in Ukraine. It's the lead up. So when Navalny was sick, he gets off a plane in Germany. He's flying back to Russia. What for? Because Russia said, don't come back here or you're going to fucking jail to serve out your time for fraud. Because he was a fraud. He embezzled money. And he got let off. They said, go on, fuck off, get out of the country. But the CIA gave him the equivalent of $14 million. $14 million to get back, to draw up a crowd, to get into Putin's face. But when he got back, they just fucking arrested him and said, you're going to jail. You had your chance to stay away from the country, but you're going to jail to finish your sentence off. They put him in jail. And I really believe, well, this is my opinion, and because of that money, wasted money by Navalny, the fucking CIA got him out somehow. Could have paid a Russian or so, but he's dead. They said he died of natural causes. And the Russians came out and said, we found nothing on him about Novichok. Whereas he was supposed to be poisoned on the plane going in. That's why Data lands in Germany. What a load of bollocks, you know what I mean? This is it. This is what you get. Good shout there, Barry, IBR. People probably don't know about your stream, Frank. If they did, they would be educated and your numbers would escalate massively. Oh, thank you, buddy. Thank you. I try to, I'm a football fan, you know me, and I'm just a fucking leather like us all. But, there's other lads who just do podcasts of football, and you can get too much of it. Really, honest to God, you can get too much of it. And I don't want to do too much of it because I've got other interests. Honestly, I've got, as you know, literature is one of the best things. Picking up a book and reading it. I always remember reading The Moon's Balloon in Italy when I was just lying around the pool, laughing my head off. People thought it was fucking soft. I'm actually belly laughing. David Niven's The Moon's a Balloon. Read it. You will laugh out loud. I read it first of all. I used to lie on the couch in my grandmother's. And she said to me, a little old mate came in and she went, I pretended to be asleep. I was just lying there, She thought that it was this. She said, I think Francis is going soft, And she said, why? She said, he's always laughing to himself. I think he's going soft because he laughs to himself. So, old ladies for you. Fantastic. But, and that's what I've always been in. And again, another one was with Peter Ustinov. I think it's called Only Me. Read it. Read it. Honest. It's so funny. And what he got up to. Even when, during the Second World War, he said, we want you to be an officer. So we said, okay. And he packed it up. He packed being an officer up. He said, after fucking people, just like what Spike Milligan said. I was just reading the war with officers like I was training with. And he just became a private. Peter Ustinov. Dead funny what he was saying, honest to God. Dead funny. Ali the Noose. Good evening. Good evening, Ali. But thank you for that, Barry. Thank you. I just... I've got other things, other things but I'm interested in. Guess where Charlie met his wife at? Hint, a certain small country. I guess. I think they might say the one who wants to become president. It's so fucking funny, isn't it? I think they met there, who wants to become president of Venezuela. It's surprising though, isn't it? Look at Honduras. And they let out Trump pardons only this week. He pardoned a drug dealer who was a heavy drug dealer. He said, I pardon him because there's elections coming about in Honduras. And there's a fella who doesn't like America who'll become El Presidente. So he's let him out, and he said, because he's got a mate there who's, who could become president. And Trump is interfering already with the Honduran elections. And he said you could become good friends. And he mentioned this other fella's name. And he's let this other fella go, ex-president. And the people have just got, and we'll give you money, but if he doesn't become president, you get nothing. Just like he did with Mealy down in Argentina earlier this year. Fucking hell, it's fucking terrible what America does. And they're not... Yes, Johan. Yes. And she's with another fella now, isn't she? America. Fucking hell. Chris Troll called the Novichok poisoning on the Skripals a complete load of bollocks. What did I say? And the anti-Russian agenda and a future war with Russia started back then. Of course it did. That's what I mean. It was the build-up. There's always a seed. There's always a seed. Look, I watch James Bond. Yeah, I love the old Bondies, but I don't. Anyway, what's this here out? From Russia with love. Fighting the Russians. Know what I mean? So it's always Russia. Russia, you've got John Wick. Who's the bazzies in it? The Russian mafia. It's all planted. It's all there for everyone to see. It's all there. You know, them Russians are fucking horrible, aren't they? They used to do it to the mafia. You know, forgetting that the likes of Alfonso Capone, he actually made these soup kitchens. He said, we can't see these fucking people starving. And he opens up like shops that had shut down during the prohibition, you know, when there was no fucking work for anybody with the stupid American government. And he opened them up as soup kitchens and he gave people jobs, serving them, especially women. Do you want to serve? And, do you want to give, we'll pay you. Oh, yes, please. That's why speakeasies were open. The black economy was all the booze coming in from Scotland, believe it or not, and here, and Mexico, and everywhere else. A black economy. It's just like the drug trade. The black economy is when they get these, fellas in America, and they go, all of a sudden they bump it, they let them build it up, and all of a sudden you see fucking millions of dollars. The black economy. That's how they work, the Americans. They could easily. Why didn't they take out the poppy fields in Afghanistan? Hey. And where's all the... it's still coming over from Afghanistan. That's the heroin market. That's where, you've got to look at the bigger picture with the Americans and history, by the way. You've got to look at the bigger picture. Even reading the book, I was doing a Christmas Carol the other night with my mate Anthony Brown. And it's not, it's a brilliant stories and you can follow the story so easily. And that's it, not great at the end. But deep down, right between the lines and the pages and everything else, there's another fucking story about poverty and skullduggery. Skullduggery, not druggery. So this is when you deep dive into, stories, especially Charles Dickens stories. There's always something below the surface. Again, like Shakespeare as well, there's always something below the surface. Everything. Watch Macbeth. Watch his tragedy speech or just get his tragedy speech. And that tragedy speech says a hell of a lot about the government at the time. The fucking lot. But you've got to understand Shakespeare. So that's a great comment, that IBR. Thank you for that. I really do. I appreciate it. And I'll leave the noose to Barry. People are lying themselves so well and hate every person who speaks the truth. Of course they do. Of course, excuse me, of course they do. This is why many doesn't like Frank, and this is why I like him. Oh, thank you. Loads don't like me yet now. He likes me. Well, that's all right. Thank you, Ali. Thank you. I know your name well there. Thank you so much. And this damn field all that. Well, even if Frankie, as a late tea, eggs, bacon, toast, tomato. They're my favourites, of the morning, for breakfast, but I'm that fucking lazy. I won't do it. Because I forgot tomatoes, actually, the other day, and I need to get some bacon in tomorrow as well. But having said that, that's, where you've said eggs, bacon, toast, and tomatoes. Because I saute I fry them. I really do. I love my tomatoes done along with my bacon, but I put my bacon in the air fryer, make it all crispy, and then do my egg with the tomato, mamma mia, and then just bang it on a round of toast and eat it just like that. And then I have another round of toast, butter's already melted, whatever, and then get a bit of marmalade, put that on and book it away. And if Stephen Snape was listening, he'd fucking have murder with me. The carbs. Anyway, hash browns, pancakes, syrup, blueberries, piece of apple pie, orange juice, coffee, waffles. I call it the Zelensky. He wants it all. Oh, that's a cracker, that. Okay, then. I'll be dead the next morning. Frank never woke up from his sleep. That's a cracker, that. Thanks, Raw. Johan, it was Jerusalem. Why, what did Johan say? Well, it's the capital now, isn't it? Because fucking the Netanyahu said to Trump, listen, mate, we don't want Tel Aviv as the capital. It's got to be Jerusalem because of the Muslims. That's what it was. Because of the Muslims. And the birthplace of Christ. You want to say it, though? Johan. Ding, 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 ding. Juan Orlando Hernandez, the real terrorist. That's him. That's him. And everything's made up about Maduro. But I think it's, I don't think they will invade. I really don't. Because if they do, I think something will happen. It could be the biggest mistake America has made. But Israel want them to invade because they want to put this girl in power. They want the whole of South America, all Latin America, to be run by Jews. Well, you've got Mealy in, haven't you? You've already got him there. You've got this Machado, whatever the fucking name is. She's a Jew. Think about it. And I like Neil McCoy Ward. I like him. Says billions has gone missing in Ukraine along with the weapons that's gone straight into the black market. Of course, been going on for years. They found out. There's bikers in Germany, and this is going back to the start. This is going back to 2022. And they ended up with all these fucking arms from Ukraine. Bikers. Like Hells Angels or whatever they are. These groups in the Middle East, they've got them as well. Who, believe it or not, this is where the corruption is. Who the CIA have trained terrorist groups there, and they're fighting Russia now. I forget who they are. And they're fighting Russia. And that was on the black market. They was getting all these. Even Mexican cartels have got them. Think about it. You're right there. I like him. I like Lee McCoy Ward. I really do, because he just come out with it. I tell you, who's a phony. That Owen Jones. He's a Russophobe, believe it or not. He's all for Gaza, which is right. But he was going on. I was watching him yesterday. I said, I wonder if, because he was going on about corruption and everything, But he never fucking mentions Zelensky because he supports Zelensky. He just fucking hates Russia. Him. Owen Jones. And I go back a couple of years ago when I was listening. I didn't listen to the fella. I just listened to him one day. I thought, you prick. You're going along with it. See, they have to go along with some sort of narrative. These journals. So he goes along with the narrative against Russia. And then really has a go over Gaza, because we're seeing it with our own eyes. But you're not really seeing anything in Ukraine, because you're not fucking seeing it off the mainstream media. Well, you get his footage of, bombs going off. But all the spin is about Russia, and the killing civilians and whatever. You had that Callas saying they're just killing civilians. We all know this. They've been killing them since 2022. They go out of the way. They go out of the way not to kill civilians, even in collateral damage. Thanks, IBR, for that. The Bukele from El Salvador is a rabid. Go away. Is he? I didn't know that. Okay, now there you go. I didn't know that. Thanks, Johan. Thanks, Johan, for that. I didn't know it. You see how Israel wants to expand. You've got the Greater Israel, and what they want about the Greater Israel. That's why they made up that they're in Syria. You see, they had to get out, as you know, Johan. We go back to 1999. About the plan to take out 7, and it was only because of Israel. Take out the 7 countries in the Middle East to make the Greater Israel. Seeds are sown. It's like when I've given lectures about the First World War. Seeds were sown after the 1871 Franco-Prussian War. That's when the seeds were sown for the First World War. And my advice is watch David Irvine. Now, I always wondered, I think I've mentioned this before, I always wondered why this fella, I'm talking about years ago, was being crucified by historians years ago. And anyway, And then never heard of him for years. Then all of a sudden on YouTube, there he is, in a little black and white thing addressing an audience. And I went, oh, what's this? David Irvine. And he went on a world tour. It must have been in the late 60s, 70s. Fucking hell. And what it's called is David Irvine, Churchill, and the Jews. Watch it. And I then realised why they were after them. Incredible. But it's got to be that one. He was on with that Sebastian thing. I looked at that, but he was getting shouted down all the time. You know, hard talk or whatever when it first came out. And that Sebastian fella, right prick he was as well. Wouldn't let anyone fucking talk. And I was listening to him with David Irvine, and he was butting in all the time. Just read the comments on that Sebastian fucking thing. It's in colour as well. But the one I watched, I did watch that full through, but the first one I watched was in black and white, and it's called David Irvine, Churchill, and the Jews. Watch it. And the IB, once this regime gets digital IDs, they'll force military conscription, and it will give them complete power over our lives with boots on our necks. Well, that's it. And it's only what von der Leyen wants as well, when she wants a European army. Because she'll, like she drew, you've only got to look at all the fucking backgrounds from these leaders, especially in the EU. That Callas, look at their background, their family background, mates. Look at them. Look at their von der Leyen. The backgrounds. Look at our fucking head of MI6. Their granddad, the butcher of Ukraine, during the Second World War. You can't make these fucking things up. Good shout that IBR, by the way. Very good shout, and they will. But, you know, you've got to be careful of this von der Leyen, really, and this Callas, because it's all the Russian rhetoric that they're bringing up. Putin said, you know, Putin was asked, do you want to go into all Europe? He said, what for? What for? That's it. That was it. I believe him. What for? What does he fucking want to go into us for? He said, but we're ready. He said, if they want to war with us, we're ready. And you know what that means, don't you? You know what that is? They'll just fucking bomb fuck out of them. Without using nuclear weapons. They've got the Erishnik there, and that, as Johan said, Bruvesnik. You've got that. You just don't fight with them. And that's without any nuclear. Flatten Berlin. Just flatten it. Without using it. Because you've got to use a nuclear weapon for a nuclear weapon to be retaliated. I don't know, that's in the, well, no one takes any fucking notice now of these rules. You've only got to look at what those two lads being, you know, that Pieteska should be up in the Hague for murder. Or even in his own country for murder. Nothing's happening. So no one's taking any fucking notice. Bukele is my favourite president out there for things he's doing, says Ali Danous. Oh, I know everything about it. His wife is following me on Twitter. Oh, yeah. Same with Oban. Oban. If you lead a small country, you can't find all of them, says Ali Danous. But he's a Zionist. Ali. You've only got, what you need to look at, Ali, is your own country and the corruption that caused the likes of Georgescu and Simoni not to be leaders of your country because of the sheer corruption of Brussels and von der Leyen. That's who you should be thinking of, mate. Oh, yeah. By the way, Frank, you know Georgescu from Romania. Back in the 90s, he was at Rome Club and he was there and was at the same club with Soros. Well, he's another prick, him, isn't he? Soros. What a horrible man, him. He wants you chipped and me chipped and everyone else on here chipped. Wants us all chipped. Can I ask you to watch a film, by the way? Just in case I forget tomorrow. And you'll get it on YouTube. If you haven't seen it, watch it. It's a true story, but the way they made it fantasy as well, you know, for some fantasy. And it's a cracking film. It's called 47 Ronin. 47 Ronin. About these samurai. Brilliant it is. And it's a true story, by the way. But as I said, they throw this fantasy in, you know, for excitement. Watch it. It's a cracking film. It really is. It really is. About revenge. Watch it. Has anybody seen it, by the way? If you haven't, watch it. Keanu Reeves, 47 Ronin. You know, the number 47, that is. Get it on YouTube. And another cracking film, which I watched the other night for the second time, was No Country for Old Men. You'll see the meanest baddie ever. It's unbelievable. But that 47 Ronin, I'd love you to watch it tonight, you know, and let me know tomorrow what you think. And Bella, Franco, what film? 47 Ronin? Keanu Reeves. Keanu, I don't know whether you can say this. I really don't. He plays, I have to say it because that's what's in the film. He plays like a mixed race thing, you know, a half-breed, as they say. Half Japanese and half English. Watch it. Great Japanese film. And one of my favourite actors comes from Japan. And he's a great actor. Seen him in a few things. I tell you what I've seen him in. This Japanese actor. He was in John Wick. He's been in John Wick, where he's like John Wick's mate. And Hanada, I think his name is Hanada, and also Life. You know where that Gillinghall fella, Jake Gillinghall, and Ryan Reynolds, where they're in space, and he's one of the astronauts. Really good film. I mean, I'm talking about Johan 47 Ronin. Got it. Johan, watch it, please. You'll be made up with it. I didn't half enjoy it. Ali the Noose. I saw it, Franco. Why didn't you tell me you didn't like it or you liked it? I saw it. If that was been me, I would have said, oh yeah, I've seen that, Franco, mate. It was good. Or I thought it was fucking terrible. Or something. You don't have to swear. But I'm just saying. And the IBR, Romania is expected to be the next war from Russia defending its territory next to Moldova. This is what it's. He called them out, didn't he, Putin, about Moldova? And they all went, oh, brilliant. That Putin's unbelievable, you know. And he's a moderate. But if Medvedev was in charge, there'd be no Ukraine today, honestly. There'd be no Ukraine if he was president. And don't forget, he was president once until Putin took over. Seen both films, Frank. Heads are tail, yes. To the shopkeeper. But the shopkeeper was brilliant, wasn't it? Why? What are you trying to say? Heads or tails. It's your life. It's a brilliant scene. That's one of the best scenes. Well done there. But a part of the lap pack. Love that name. Love that name. Like the cop father. Brilliant. Okay, I watched that tonight. I'll let you know tomorrow, says the lovely Bella. Thank you, Bella. I'll tell Marcella to watch it as well. Soros is the main Zionist, Franco. Yeah, of course he is. He is the biggest rat from all. He came to buy every country was on the ground. Even Romania in 1990 after Ceausescu died. Ceausescu was the one who kept them away. Yeah, yeah. Yes. And Ceausescu, as you know, he wanted the best for his, and he did keep him away. But getting rid of him, you know, we'll have someone. And it's just the same as Ceausescu today. But the corruption with Brussels and von der Leyen by cancelling your elections of a sovereign state. What did she blame? She blamed the Russians and TikTok. Didn't she? Fucking hell. And the people took fucking notice of it. And Ceausescu, you know, they even arrested him, didn't they? And he couldn't put his name on the paper then. Arrest him because he won't be able to put his name on the paper once he's arrested. You know, to have another run at the presidency. Because he was going to win, hands down. Then Simone. God blimey, this fucking itch. Just here, around here. You know, my nostrils. Terrible. Bella says, Toshiro Mifune, no, it's not him. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not him. It's something I forget his fucking name. But he's a great actor. Well, he's the main man, and there's him and Keanu and this, this girl, don't know her name either. Japanese, good actress, good. Have you seen the Korean film Old Boy Franco? As it's pretty dark. No, I tell you what, I've seen a few South Korean ones. They are good actually. And I never watch, being honest, I never watch these zombie things. I don't like the zombies. But I've seen Train to Busan. Fantastic. And the little girl in it should have got a fucking Oscar. She's an unbelievable actress. Train to Busan. If you haven't seen that, IBR, watch it. Jesus, this fucking thing's getting me. Jesus. Fucking hell. I bet you the Anfield Road after the chase fell asleep, he'd be snoring his head off. I saw both of them, says the alley. They're both nice films. Thank you. Thank you, Ali. See, it's so easy. Glad you liked them anyway. And the Ali said to the IBR, says, EU is making our presidents a jump on Putin's neck. This is what they are doing. Send drones to Romania to look like Russia is checking us. Big BS. Very big with everything. Of course it is. Of course it is, Ali. Fucking drones can't go thousands of miles. Even to Belgium. Instead of Sweden and Norway and everywhere, send the drones over. Oh, fuck off. They expect us to believe it. The Russians just laugh at them. That's him. Part of the Rat Pack. Ryoki Sanada. Yes. Is an actor that literally has been going since the 70s. He's 65 now and doesn't look it. Started in 66 as a child actor. That's him. That's him, Pack. That's him, mate. Great actor. Seen him in a few things. Seen him in a few things. And he's great in that. He's really good in that particular 47 Ronin. It's a really good film. And that Ali said, no, Franco, I saw an interview with an ex-colonel from the Secret Services. He said about Georgescu that he was in the same Masonic club with Soros and more Zionists. In the 90s, they put him at UN as secretary. Yeah, but he wanted. And yeah, he could have been kidding everyone by saying he didn't want nothing to do with Ukraine. He wanted to look after his own people. And he was going to win hands down. I understand you're Romanian, you're still there. You know more than me. But I don't trust Soros, fucking hell. Mean man, him. But whether he could have been played if he would have become president, but you've got a big fucking puppet in there now, unfortunately. And what about Simone? Why didn't he get in? And he was supposed to win the next fucking day. And it would have taken about 4 countries and all their votes to get him in. The fella who beat him. It was ridiculous. And he just walked away. He said, oh, fuck it. He didn't want him in, Ollie. Umbrella to IBR. Is that Choi Min Sik who plays the protagonist? Oh, Dae-soo. What that is? Choi Min Sik. Sounds like a Chinese meal, huh? I like the John Wick movie. So do I. So do I. I like the things. I like the Al Keanu. I think like in this, it's John Wick as a samurai, if you know what I mean. When you see him. And the IBC's to Bella. Not sure which plays which part. And the pack says Sanada, he's in short. Do you know what? I was going to watch that. And I will watch it, worth a watch. If he's in there, that'll do me. Shogun. The Japanese have a great, culture, especially warriors, if you know what I mean. They really have. And the Ali Danu says probably they took him out because Georgescu is more pro. Of course he is. He is. That's why they took him out. But he wanted to look after his own people. You and your mum. He wanted to look after them. He said, what should we send the fucking money then to them? Same as Obama. Says the same. Same as Fico. The Slovakia. Same as this new president of the Czech Republic. He said, fuck Ukraine. Sending them money. They're all corrupt anyway. I'm looking after our own people. And another one is more pro-use Simeon, is pro-gypsies. He is off gypsy. He gave the gypsies families to commit destruction. Lands for free. I didn't know that. About Simeon. Thanks for letting me know anyway, Ali. Thank you. Really appreciate it. But the more corrupt is the people who cancelled your elections, and that's in Brussels. The EU. Von der Leyen. And Johan, apologies for going back to current events, but Putin announced to launch of RT India today. Remember RT? Yeah, I get it on here, I get it on YouTube. Yeah, it comes on, it's not every day, but it comes on. And then you get that Peter Laval and his gaggle, and that's good. At least they're getting us out there. As well as multiple military, economic, and social programs, the media here are in love with him. Yes, yes. I always remember Theresa May when she was Home Secretary. No, she became Prime Minister. And she said, I want that RT off the air. So you knew what was coming. They said, no, you can't do that, wait. But she came out and said it when she was Prime Minister about RT. It never came off until the SMO. That was it. Get us off. Thanks, Johan. Bella, the actors from Old Boy Korean film. It's the actors from the Old Boy Korean film. Ask Bella. I haven't seen well, I think you're asking IBR or the Rat Pack. He does. Rick Sanchez does. He works for the RT. I've seen him. He did a great interview, and this is a couple of months ago. They were overlooking Red Square, and he was interviewing Scott Ritter. That was a good interview. And for people who doesn't know Scott Ritter, I have mentioned Colonel Wilkinson and Douglas McGregor, not a colonel. I have mentioned Ray McGovern and Larry Johnson. They're all ex-Intel, CIA. Scott Ritter was he went in with Hans Blix for the weapons of mass destruction into Iraq, and they found them. And that's when he really, that was his line gone. They know that there's no weapons of mass destruction. And that's when, he started coming out with the truth even then. And Joe Biden made a show of him when Biden was a senator. This is not your pay grade. We're way above your pay grade. He said to him. It was shocking in the Senate. What he was saying to him. So you see, Scott Ritter, he just come out and he's firing. He really has. Dave Smith, another fella, he's brilliant. Him. I like Redacted as well. They're good. But Judge Napolitano, I always follow him. You've got Colonel Davis as well. Colonel Davis with his own show, Deep Dive. He's good. Ex-Colonel of the USA. So you see, these are the people I follow. These are the fella okay, now, do you know what? My fingers are freezing, And do you know when I've done that? God, blimey. I put nice up. Colonel McGregor, that's it. Colonel Douglas McGregor, brilliant. And brilliant historian, then fucking hell. He's brilliant. And they all spell. I follow Professor Sachs as well, and Meschmeyer, another professor. They're good. They're fucking good. Who have you got here? You've only got George Galloway. UK column news of great column news. Never heard of them. I've heard of Double Down News. Never heard of them, to be honest. Column News. Never heard of them, honestly. And I look at everything, you know. But if I think anyone's dodgy, I won't fucking look at them. But I think YouTube have got me, you know, what I like. So they all come up at the top. I'll have a look, though. I'll try and get that up, IBR. 7 Summer, 1954, a monumental epic. I've seen that. Late 16th century. War and States periods. Yeah. Ran, 1985. Kurosawa's sweeping colour adaptation of Shakespeare's King Lear, set in medieval Japan. Well, King Lear could be, you see, I've watched it. I haven't watched all the plays, you know, Shakespeare plays, and being honest. King Lear I went to see with Pete Postlethwaite. And he died soon after. I didn't know that, like, he was dying. And I went up to the Everyman to watch him. I thought, fuck off, because I will not watch anything out of dress. Shakespeare, you know, you've got to be in the Shakespeare dress. And to put us in like fucking 30s. You know, I went to see Macbeth once, and they were fucking in their tuxedos, and I fucking walked out. It's gender. They've got to be in the dress, not fucking tuxedos. But that's the Royal Shakespeare Company. I won't watch anything that they may do. It's a good film, Franco. King Lear. UK film keep getting banned on YouTube, says the oh, does it? No wonder I've never seen it. Well, listen, all you beautiful people. Poor Frank's fucking freezing here. Been on for 2.5 hours. Don't forget those films. And you will be watching that tonight. 47 Roland. And so will lovely Bella. She'll be watching. It's good. You'll be made up with it, Bella. But what's next, Frank? I've got the film and TV review tomorrow. There's a couple of films I forgot the titles of, so I'll tell you about them tomorrow. The goods as well. The goods. And you can get these on you. I will not watch fucking woke ones. What was the watch? And it was a cracking film. The latest one as well. But I did mention it before with Michael Keaton. And it's good. He plays a hitman. Give you the title tomorrow. Watch it. It's fucking brilliant. The Keaton boy. So it's tomorrow morning, Barry. It's got to be after. I was going to have it at 11 o'clock, but our Francine's coming down to drag me shopping at 12:30. Part of the Rat Pack says, watch the latest modern version of Macbeth. I like Michael Fassbender. It's set in the period. Film looks amazing, and it's in the Shakespearean language. Have a good weekend. I tell you what, I was watching that, and it turns it off. And Not that I wanted to turn it off, by the way. What happened? Something happened, and I couldn't get it back on. But yeah, I'll have a look at that. I'll get that up again. Forgot all about it. Michael Fassbender. I like Fassbender. Great actor. Snazzy though in them Prometheus ones, isn't he? Snazzy in them. I seen him in one where he played again. I turns it off, and he plays a hitman, and you just see him waiting in this room, and then he's waiting for this, whatever, and then in the night comes up. They're having a little party. The lights on. He gets his fucking gun out, just all that, you know what I mean? Forget the title of that as well. But I'll have a look at that pack. I'll definitely get that back up. Thank you again, Sir Franco. Time for a cocoa and cookie, says the idea. I'm glad Snapey's not here because do you know what I think? I'll have a rounds of toast. A couple of rounds of toast for me supper at about 10 o'clock with marmalade on. But don't tell Snapey. Cheeky bastards, yeah. Terrible, that like, just got a fucking head on me. I don't know what's wrong with this fucking side here, Do you think, like, if he had a short back and sides, do you think that would be all right? Do you think it'd look all right? Do you know what? I was my old mate phoned me today, and cracking fella, John, and his shop in Bold Street is shutting down. Well, it's not a shop; it's a cafe, Maggie Mays, and he makes great scouse. He does other meals, obviously. After 30 years. Fucking shocking, isn't it? 30 years he's been there. My old mate. Terrible that out. Fuck off. That's the killer, the hitman. That's it. Well done, Pac. Brilliant. And Yolan, thank you, Frank and Legends. Have a good night, everyone. Good luck versus Liverpool. See you tomorrow morning, Franco. Off to watch the 47 Ronin. Let me know, Johan, what you think. If Ali the Noose likes it, I'm sure you like it as well. Even the Rat Pack. And Bella, the lovely Bella. Franco, Marcella and I are going to watch it tonight. But I will let you know tomorrow. Grazie. Domani. Yes, let me know. And you will enjoy it. Honestly, you will. As I said, there's a bit of fantasy in it. However, it's based on a true story. So if we get, it's good the fantasy in it. By the way, it won't let you, it doesn't spoil it. But it's just for a bit of excitement. But it's a cracking film. And Bella says, "Buonanotte, Franco. And all you lovely chat family, sweet dreams. Oh, thank you. Miss you lovely. Sleep well, Frank and chat. Do you know what, Barry? I bought myself an orthopedic bed. Okay, now I'm like, what's his name? Who slept for a fucking 100 years? Is it Van Winkle? Go to sleep. Can I have sleep in it? Go. But I still get that pain in me fucking elbow. And on that wonderful note, all you wonderful people, see some of you tomorrow. Hopefully all of you. But I will definitely see you tomorrow. And if I don't see you tomorrow, I'll see you tomorrow night on the watch along. I'll be doing a watch along. Fucking hell. Leeds United. Oh, don't remind me. That's God's face to Barry. Thank you. And I'll see you tomorrow. Some of you anyway. Thank you. And to Bella and Marcella, buonanotte. Buonanotte, Bella and Marcella. Adamani. Mattina. Mattina. Ciao, everyone.